One of the major lessons that I learned as a software engineer with 12 years of experience was that you don't have to really focus on your technical skills. That comes with the amount of projects that you work on, all the different ways of coding, how to refactor code, how to spot check when something is obviously causing a performance hit versus how to debug that, and so on and so forth. But the biggest flex is actually communicating your thoughts effectively. So if you're an engineer right now that's trying to jump into becoming a senior engineer or even a lead, and you have the technical skills down packed, you know how to code, you know how to figure things out, you just lack in the communication aspect of it to where you can explain your thoughts clearly and effectively. You could actually write down exactly what needs to be done and then translate that into simple terms. That's something that you need to build. This is what you consider a soft skill. And I had to learn that throughout my career, that just focusing on the technical skills will get you so far, but being able to explain effectively how things should work is 10 out of 10 better. Trust me, you don't even have to know how to code at that point or know something hands down. If you're able to explain exactly what you're going to be implementing and be sure about that and show that you actually understand the basics of the requirements, how you're going to technically implement that, and how other people that are not technical can understand that from a simple point of view, you should be golden. So today I'm just going to talk to you guys about why having soft skills is very important. Now, I know a lot of you engineers don't really want to work on those soft skills and you're introverted by nature, and that's fine. But you have to work on this skill to get further in your career, if that's what you want to do. And also be able to effectively communicate with others that don't know what you're about, right? They don't know exactly how you're going to be coding a solution or how you're going to be building it. If you're able to effectively communicate that, you should be good. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is when you communicate effectively, you are building authority. You are building trust within the product managers. You're building trust within your team that you have a handle on the situation. Now, this could be as simple as explaining a bug that is causing issues on your app. So a ticket was created and it's about this particular bug that is causing a performance hit. And you're trying to figure out the details and all that stuff. You can use AI to figure that out now, but to explain effectively what AI is outputting to you, you have to read and understand what the issue is and what the potential solution is. So when you're asked, how are we going to solve this problem? You can't read verbatim whatever AI outputs out to you as the particular solution. You have to understand at its core what needs to be done. It shows that you can use AI, but it doesn't show that you effectively understand and know that this solution is going to solve that problem. The more clarity that you have around the problem, the easier it will get for you to actually explain your thoughts. And now some people, they have a hard time reading something and then explaining it, right? Maybe it's the fear of public speaking, or maybe it's the fear of being judged. This is something that you have to put reps in. It's not something that will happen overnight. I can tell you from my experience, public speaking has helped me tremendously. I actually started this channel just to help me with public speaking and getting better at taking my thoughts on paper and recording it and actually looking at how I'm explaining things and try to figure out different ways to get better at that. You look at your stop words, you look at how your brain is processing certain things and trying to articulate certain things at the same time. One of the major things that I learned was just taking a pause if I didn't know something and just sit on that for a little bit and let the silence sit for a while until I actually got clarity to speak further. That's a major win there. When we're trying to explain something, we try to get all that information out because we don't really want to spend too much time in the spotlight, but you have to get comfortable by being uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I had to get used to a lot. I was put in certain situations where I had to do presentations. I really didn't like the topics that I was assigned to do, but I learned to love the process and actually get better and be the best at explaining things to the entire team and building authority and trust within them to understand that I know what I'm talking about. You don't have to be perfect with this, but you just need to really focus on getting better every single time, not shying away from speaking up whenever you need to be in the spotlight. But if you know something and you're confident about it, don't be afraid to just speak up, right? Because the more you speak up, the more opportunities are going to be handed to you. By building authority, you have to know exactly what you're doing, understand the requirements that are already laid out for you, technically build that out, and then explain effectively what you're going to do. And I guarantee you, you're going to get more opportunities. A lot of people are going to come to you for answers. And you're also going to get better with your soft skills. So I wanted to just hit that home with you guys because trust me, I wasn't perfect with public speaking, but I practice and I do uncomfortable things. Like as a senior engineer now, I get to talk with other team members on different things, like whether it's AI related, a different project. And I learn as much as I can with the help of AI to give me a summary of what I need to talk about and just be confident in how I speak. And this is going to take time, like I said. So don't shy away from it. Keep learning and put yourself out there and uncomfortable. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is why it's important for you to go through just speaking, right, in different meetings and trying to be present about a particular problem or a solution to a problem. This builds clarity so that you can effectively organize your thoughts a little bit better. First time you do it, you're going to think that you're not really getting that point across. You're going to have a lot of ums and ahs and a lot of stop words, and your brain is just going to short circuit. And it is what it is. You don't have to beat yourself up over it. You just have to learn from what happened and get better. Trust me, I've done that multiple times where I didn't take the initiative to practice. And that's a big thing. So if it's a big presentation, I never really practice. I probably do it maybe 30 minutes in, but that was it. You need more time, especially as you start to build a repetition of that habit of speaking in different rooms and all that stuff. You need to practice. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The best public speakers practice. They don't just go out there on stage and just talk. Like, they actually practice. So that's something that I had to do, was just practice, record myself actually doing a presentation, look at it with the audio off. So I would see mannerisms, like, am I making good eye contact? Does it look like I look confident when I'm talking about this stuff? Then I would just keep going back at it and then go over the material more and get better. If you're able to just practice and just talk about the different things that you're doing, you become more interesting. Now people are going to ask you questions like, how did you build this skill? What made you do that? And these are some of the questions that you're going to have to answer. But being technical of just coding is one thing, right? You could, as another engineer, they could look at your code and they could provide feedback, right? But for someone that is not technical, you have to be able to explain what you're doing. So having that expertise in technical explanations is a game changer for sure, because it reduces the amount of questions that you get asked about how you're going to be implementing things. And then people are going to just stop asking questions in general because they know how you operate. It shows confidence when whatever project that you're working on, you're going to take the lead, you're going to figure out what the requirements are, and then you're going to just speak effectively on it. That's what I have to do every single day, and I got better at it. Especially when you're dealing with like complex problems and complex projects in itself, you need someone technical to explain, especially a product manager. They can have the requirements, but if you can't explain technically what you're going to do, then someone else will have to jump in and try to save you in that regard. Or maybe they give the project to someone else with more experience, and you don't want that. You want to take every single opportunity that is given to you, even if you don't really like it, learn to love it at least, and gamify public speaking in itself, right? Gamify speaking up. Every day you should be able to speak up effectively, depending on whatever meetings that you're in. If no one has any questions, be curious, be the one that ask the best questions, right? This is very important. If you can't do that, then no one's gonna really take you seriously. Let's just keep it 100 with you, all right? So this is why public speaking itself and communication is very effective in any room that you're in. And like I said, it does build trust. For example, if you're an entry-level developer, having the context of what you're doing and being able to effectively communicate that to anybody shows that you're not just entry level. You could be like a senior level developer. Let's keep it 100 here. I learned that in my 12 years of experience, I didn't really have to do public speaking as much. But once I started to do it, I realized that my technical skills could be one thing, but it doesn't really show everybody that I could actually work on harder projects. And I really had to change that. And now people rely on me for a lot of things. Whether it's just for mentorship, whether it's just to peer review code, whether it's just advice in terms of how to solve a problem and how to break things down. I put in the work and the reps so that I can make it easier, not only for myself, but then also pay it forward for someone else who is struggling. The things that made you uncomfortable before a big presentation, before raising your hand and actually talking about a project that you're working on, especially during stand-up, being able to effectively communicate what you're doing, you're giving insight into your expertise on a particular subject. And the more you do it, the easier it will be. Doesn't matter how big the presentation is. It doesn't matter how big the project is. You're going to have better stress levels when going into that project and being more comfortable. And now I'm not saying every single day you're going to be comfortable. Trust me. I've had my days where I thought I had everything knocked down, but then I fell back a little bit because I didn't know a particular use case, and that's okay. It's okay to not know everything. Just learn from those mistakes and get better. That's the best you could do at that point, right? No one's going to look at you different because you made a mistake. Everybody's human. We make mistakes. Don't put yourself into that everything needs to be perfect, because it just won't be. This is why speaking effectively and soft skills is very important. I can't hone that to you guys as much as I can, because you're really holding yourself back and putting yourself smaller than what you are, because you're not really putting yourself into this mode of actually explaining your thoughts. And like I said, it's going to take time, right? So the more reps that you put in, the easier it will be. Public speaking itself matters more today because everything is AI generated. I would work with AI to get a summary of what I need to do or what I plan to do if I'm doing an implementation plan, or if I just need to give a high level explanation in terms of what needs to be done for a particular project with multiple people. But then I flip it and I turn it into how I would speak and explain things, right? Because I could take the summary of everything and then change it to how I would explain it and then add more color to it, right? So say, for example, if I just grab the summary from AI to look at the repo that I'm working through and all of the different places that I'm going to be making these changes, it will give me a summary of that, but then I could actually do a diagram of how I'm going to be implementing these changes. And now you have a visual representation of how we're going to start and what the end product will be. Okay. So being able to technically design a chart that shows what you're going to do visually will get your point across. Being able to summarize what you're going to do and explain the first step versus the last step is going to give you more clarity, and everybody else more clarity on what you're doing. Because the less clarity that people have, the more questions that they're going to ask you. And if you're not prepared to answer those questions, you're going to be shit out of luck. I want you guys to work on those soft skills. It's very important because the nerves are going to go away. Your clarity is going to go up. And also the way you articulate your thoughts will increase dramatically by you just practicing. If you're the type that doesn't want to participate, depending on whatever meeting it is, and you dread to speak up in those meetings, depending on how many people are in there, etc., get uncomfortable with that. So that's it, guys. That's the video. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if you guys are stuck in your head about doing public speaking at all, or just even speaking up in meetings. Even though a lot of engineers are very introverted in terms of not trying to give updates or just speaking up in general because they feel like people don't care or they just don't want to go through that process, you have to get uncomfortable with that. All right. Now, if you need any mentorship on anything, just like what we talked about, right? Public speaking or just code review or what you want to do in tech, like AI space and all that stuff, there's a link in the description that you could click on so that you book a consultation with me and we could discuss pain points, what you want to do, and we could go through the best practices of getting better every single day. We'll talk soon.